Let's be real. Have you ever signed up for an online course that promised this amazing, personalized experience, but then you just found yourself clicking through the same slides as, well, everyone else? Yeah, the dream of a truly adaptive education, one that literally molds itself to you in real time, well, it's a lot closer than you might think. Today, we're going to look at a brand new AI framework that can build your perfect lesson plan instantly. So let's just ask that question right out of the gate. Is the online learning you're doing truly personal? I mean, think about it. We've all got different devices, right? Different amounts of free time. We speak different languages. But most online platforms, they're still serving up a one-size-fits-all meal. There's this huge gap between what's promised and what's actually delivered. And here's the core of the problem. The existing systems that try to be adaptive, they just can't quite get it right. They're often way too rigid, you know? They can't account for your actual context, like if you're trying to study on your phone during a 15-minute commute. Or they're incredibly slow to adapt. And maybe the worst part, a lot of them are complete black boxes. You get a recommendation, but you have no earthly idea why. And that makes them really, really hard to trust. Now, to crack this nut, researchers have tried a bunch of different methods over the years. You can think of them as 4 main contenders, each one with its own special strategy for solving the personalization puzzle. But as we're about to see, every single one had a fatal flaw that kept it from winning the race on its own. And this table just lays it all out perfectly. First, you've got your context-aware systems. They're great at filtering, like hiding videos if your internet is slow, but they don't actually find the best path for learning. Then there are the pure optimization methods. They're mathematically perfect, but they just completely choke on massive courses. Machine learning, super adaptive for sure, but it's that dreaded black box again. And finally, you have semantic systems, which are logical and you can explain them, but they had no way to actually optimize the learning path. See the problem? None of them could do it all. So what do? How do you get the best of all of these worlds without any of the downsides? Well, you build something completely new, and that's where IKRAE comes in. It's a framework designed from the ground up to be a breakthrough, intelligently combining the absolute best parts of all those previous approaches into one single unified system. Okay, so IKRAE stands for Intelligent Knowledge-Based Recommendation for Adaptive Education. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know. But the key ideas are right there in the name. It uses semantic reasoning, that's the logical, explainable part we liked, and smashes it together with graph-based optimization. That's the mathematically perfect part. The result? Learning paths that are not only personalized, but are also built to scale to massive courses and are completely transparent. So how on earth does it actually work? Well, the secret sauce is this really clever 2-layer architecture. I want you to think of it like this. It's a smart filter working hand in hand with a learning GPS. It's a simple analogy, but it perfectly captures the 2-step process that makes this whole thing so powerful. Here's how it goes. First, IKRAE unleashes its smart filter. That's the semantic layer. It looks at every single piece of material in a course and checks it against your personal context. Then, and only then, once it has a much smaller, curated list of great options, it hands that list over to the learning GPS, the optimization layer, to map out the absolute best path forward just for you. Let's dig into that smart filter for a second. It's like a brilliant lightning-fast bouncer at the door of your course. It uses a set of simple, logical rules to check every lesson, every video, every quiz against your profile. Does a video require a big screen, but you're on your phone? Nope, you're not getting in. Is an article in a language you don't speak? Gone. This step alone instantly removes 35 to 60% of all the irrelevant stuff, which makes the next step so much easier. Okay, now for the learning GPS. Once that bouncer has cleared out all the noise, this optimization layer gets to work on what's left. It uses a famous and time-tested method called Dijkstra's algorithm, which in simple terms is just a genius way of finding the shortest path between 2 points on a map. It charts out the most efficient and pedagogically sound route for you from start to finish, balancing everything from lesson duration to importance to build your perfect journey. All right, that all sounds fantastic in theory, but the real question is, does it actually perform? Well, the researchers put IKRAE through its paces in huge simulations, pitting it against other leading methods to see if it could really deliver on being fast, smart, and scalable. The first test? Constraint satisfaction. Basically, this just measures how well the system follows all the rules. Things like making sure you take a prerequisite before an advanced topic. And as you can see, IKRAE is way up there, scoring over 90%. That means the paths it creates are valid and make sense pretty much every single time. The competition, like simple greedy algorithms or even reinforcement learning, not even close. Now get ready for this number. Less than 200 milliseconds. That is how fast iKRAE can replan your entire learning path if your situation changes. So you switch from your laptop to your phone, your study time suddenly gets cut in half. Bam! In less time than it takes you to blink, you have a new, perfectly optimized plan ready and waiting. Now that is true real-time adaptation. And what about scale? Can this thing handle a massive open online course, a MOOC, with thousands and thousands of students? Oh yeah. iKRAE was tested on simulated courses with up to 100,000 different learning objects. So this isn't some toy concept. This is a system built to handle the incredible scale of modern online education. But this might be the most important part of all. iKRAE is not a black box. Unlike so many other AIs where you get a recommendation and it just feels totally random, every single decision iKRAE makes is transparent and explainable. You can actually trace a recommendation all the way back to the specific rule that made it happen. And that is absolutely huge for building trust with both students and teachers. So when you put all of this together, you've got the speed, you've got the scale, the accuracy, and that crucial transparency, you start to realize this is more than just a small improvement. This kind of technology has the potential to fundamentally change how we think about online learning and personalization forever. The key takeaways here are just so clear. With iKRAE, we get truly personal learning paths at a massive scale. We get an AI that we can actually trust because we can see how it thinks. And that, of course, leads to a much more engaging experience for learners. What's more, this whole architecture is so robust it could be used way beyond education. Think personalized healthcare plans or complex industrial training programs. I want to end with this quote because it comes directly from the research paper, and it just captures the big picture so well. This isn't just about building smarter software. It's about designing trustworthy, human-aligned AI systems. It's about building technology that actually works with us, that understands our context, and helps us get where we want to go in a way we can actually understand and rely on. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What would it mean for you, for your career, for your curiosity, if your learning could finally, truly adapt to your life, instead of you having to adapt your life to your learning? With frameworks like iKRAE, that future is no longer a question of if, but when.